Andrew Kraft, sorry about that earlier, but we do have Natalie He now from Fox 26 in Houston, and we do want to talk about that news that Governor Greg Abbott in the state of Texas is lifting the statewide mask mandate. He wants to open up businesses there in the state 100% fully, and so we're being joined, Natalie. Natalie, how are Texans responding to this news today?
Well, Andrew, it seems like Texans are actually pretty split on it. Earlier today, I caught up with the county judges from different areas of Houston. In Montgomery County, Judge Mark Keogh was actually in full support of the governor's decision. He says that this is a great idea. He wants to encourage businesses to open and for his constituents to use their own personal decisions, to instill their own personal responsibility when it comes to the virus here. If you go over a little bit more north, or rather more southwest, a totally different story here. That was with Fort Bend County Judge KP George. Right now, it seems like he says his attorneys are actually trying to interpret what exactly the county has in terms of jurisdiction and what powers they have when it comes to the governor's order. It seems like there may be a little bit of confusion here on whether the governor's order, when it comes to the mask mandate, for example, whether it supersedes all of the local jurisdictions. Locally here, Harris County and the city of Houston, we had a pretty harsh response actually from the Mayor Sylvester Turner, and Harris County Judge Lena Hidalgo, both of them saying they plan on asking anyone who steps on city property or county property, city or county buildings, to continue wearing their mask. But they also accused Governor Abbott of issuing this as a distraction to what happened with the power grid just about 2 weeks ago when we had that historic winter storm affect so many Texans here. So right now, as I speak to a lot of these local judges on the county and city level, it seems like a lot of them are just working with their attorneys right now to try to interpret the language in the governor's executive order, especially when it comes to the mask mandate. Andrew?
Yeah, Natalie, that was one of my main questions too. Will local municipalities still be able to uphold their mask ordinances in their jurisdictions in light of this? But you're seeing right now other governors following suit. The governor of Mississippi doing the same today, Tate Reeves. So do you expect kind of this chain reaction of this lightening of restrictions amongst, Republican governors across the country?
It seems like that may very well be the case here, but, just in terms of the local jurisdictions here, I will say that I caught up with our legal analyst just a few minutes before we hopped on here to be with you guys here, and he brought up a specific case that actually happened with the city of Austin over New Year's. The city of Austin actually wanted to issue some curfews when it came to their bars in light of the New Year's holidays, and the case actually went up to the Texas Supreme Court. They actually ruled in favor of the governor, upholding that the governor's order should be the one to enforce the order, not the local jurisdiction there, the local city there. So it's going to be interesting to see what the county attorneys and the city levels are going to actually come up to decide here. But I do also want to point out that a lot of this, as the governor had pointed out, as the Montgomery County judge had pointed out, will actually fall on individual businesses to decide. We have been reaching out all day, our newsroom here, to local businesses to see what they plan on doing. I'll bring up, for an example, H-E-B. That's obviously one of the biggest grocery chains here in Texas. It's based out of San Antonio. They sent out a statement earlier today that says they will continue requiring their partners and their vendors to wear a mask when they are at work. However, when it came to their customers, it's interesting to see their language used there. They say they are urging all customers to wear a mask while in store. So you see the change in the language there, requiring their partners and their vendors to wear a mask, but when it comes to their customers, they're urging them to wear one. So when it comes to the individual restaurants here in the Houston area, here locally, we, as of right now, have heard that most of them are planning on continuing to uphold these restrictions, these COVID-19 safety precautions. Another big question that we're working on right now is with the school districts. What will the Texas Education Agency rule? That's the statewide agency that issues all the guidance for the schools. In terms of Houston ISD, that's one of the largest school districts in the country. They put out a message earlier that said they plan on requiring still any parent or any student that goes into the buildings on campuses to continue wearing their masks and taking those precautions as of what this means for schools physically reopening, for all students to go back. It seems like right now they're still waiting for the guidance from the state level. So it's definitely still a lot of details that we're working out here. The governor's order came out here maybe just 2 hours ago, and so a lot of people are now working on interpreting that language and trying to figure out how they're going to move forward with their business, with their schools, or with whatever sort of entity that they're looking over here. Andrew?
And Natalie, just lastly, so this was an order signed by the governor, or was this remarks made? So what is the immediate effect of this? Will many Texans' lives change in the next couple hours, tomorrow? Will this be immediate, or will it kind of be gradual like you've been hinting at?
So this is an executive order signed by the governor today, essentially lifting any sort of COVID-19 precaution that was previously set in place. So starting next Wednesday, that's going to be March 10th, all of this will go into effect. That includes the lifting of the mask mandate that was actually issued back in October. So that's about 8 months or so that the mask mandate has been required here in the state of Texas. In terms of businesses, right now, businesses were allowed to reopen to about 50%, I believe. That's going to be completely off the table now. Starting next Wednesday, all businesses are allowed to reopen 100%. And there were some other restrictions in place in terms of the types of businesses that could open. Nightclubs and bars had stricter restrictions just from the pure nature that those establishments may tend to have more crowded spaces, people next to each other, not as much room for social distancing. But right now, all of that has been thrown out the door with the governor's executive order signed. It'll go into effect once again next Wednesday on March 10th. So I think from now until then, like I said, there's going to be a lot of focus on the details here, what this means for the businesses. But as I said, again, right now, it looks like a lot of them are planning on keeping these restrictions safe. And I think a lot of people that we spoke to, business owners and other agencies, things like that, they want to make sure their employees are safe too. They know that there's a business to be made, that customers may want to exercise their freedoms and their personal responsibilities, but they want to make sure that they're doing their part in keeping their people that they're bringing in to work safe, as well as keeping their customers happy there too. Andrew?
All right, Fox 26 Houston's Natalie He, thanks for breaking all of that down for us here on News Now. We're going to be following the reaction as well throughout the day. We aired Sylvester Turner, the mayor of Houston's press conference live earlier as well, so it'll be interesting to see the reaction amongst state officials and nationally, other governors as well. So, Natalie, thank you so much.
Of course, thank you.
And like I said, when Mike Page was up here in the chair, we were getting some reaction as well from governors. Governor Tate Reeves of Mississippi issuing a similar order lifting restrictions. We also showed you a tweet from Governor Gavin Newsom of California, who said something along the lines, of terribly reckless or terribly shocking or something like that in response. So from all sides of the aisle, it's getting lots of reaction there in Texas. So I'm Andrew Kraft. I want to take a quick commercial break. We have lots more live coverage coming up for you in the next few hours. My colleague Daytona Everett will be coming up into the chair very soon.